India's G20 presidency has been an outlier for several reasons and will shape future global decisions on several fronts. One particular area that has been successfully pushed by India is digital public infrastructure, or DPIs. For the first time ever, the G20 reached a global consensus on what ought to be the DPIs definition, the framework and principles. For the first time ever, DPIs, digital public infrastructure, that section has been adopted by the G20 under India's presidency. For the previous G20s, DPIs never found a place. But this sounds complicated as of now. So let's decode one by one. First things first, what really is DPI? DPI stands for Digital Public Infrastructure. It means any digital platform through which fast and secure service delivery can be provided to the public. So since it's a public good, as the name goes, it is backed by the government for the benefit of the citizens and for the benefit of both the private and the public sectors. So that's the definition. In India, we call the collection of these services the India stack. Let's understand with examples. UPI, DigiLocker, Diksha and CoWin are all a part of the India stack, and they're examples of digital public infrastructure. And UPI has truly been an Indian platform that is used as an example globally. UPI is a payment system through which money can be transferred to people's accounts real time with no cost, and it has given Indians the freedom to go cashless. Now, the United Payments Interface, or UPI, has crossed the 10 billion mark in the volume terms of transactions in the month of August. In fact, UPI has also been adopted in 8 countries, including in developed countries such as Singapore. Next, another example is DigiLocker, which is a digital locker for all your government documents. Along with that, you've also had Diksha platform, which helps students continue studying even during COVID. While we are on the subject of COVID, we can't forget CoWin, which helped COVID-19 vaccination really reach the last mile. 110 crore people are registered on CoWin, and most Indians got vaccinated through this very platform. Now, India's DPI is proving to be an example for even the developed world. I'm not saying it's coming right from the World Bank. The World Bank said that India achieved remarkable landmark in just 6 years in the DPI front. Accomplishments that would typically have taken nearly 5 decades, India achieved those in just 6 years. So setting examples in DPIs and globally being an inspiration, but what did India really achieve on this front at the G20? As I said, DPIs have finally found a place in the G20 declaration for the first time under India's G20 presidency. For India, importantly, the declaration that has been adopted has welcomed India's plan to build and maintain a global digital public infrastructure repository, or the GDPIR. Now, what is this? It will be a virtual repository of digital public infrastructure voluntarily shared by G20 members and beyond. So G20 members will share their technology, digital public infrastructure, which can be used by other member countries as well. The IT ministry says this will be like a central bank to share technology with countries that are lagging behind free of cost. Now, this will be a big boost for India's DPIs, as they will now be highlighted and are likely to be adopted in more and more countries. So this has been adopted, but it remains to be seen when it actually turns into a reality, but definitely a further boost for India's digital public infrastructure.
So, well, India has really emerged as a voice of the global south, and one big push where India has truly walked the talk is green energy transition. And on the sidelines of the G20 summit, PM Modi also announced a biofuels alliance, a global biofuels alliance, of which India, US and Brazil are founding members. How could this be a game changer as far as clean energy transition is concerned? Here's a report.
Walking the talk on pushing green energy transition as a collective responsibility, Prime Minister Narendra Modi launched the Global Biofuel Alliance on the sidelines of the New Delhi G20 summit. Singapore, Bangladesh, Italy, the United States of America, Brazil, Argentina, Mauritius and the United Arab Emirates were all part of the launch. A total of 19 countries and 12 international organizations have so far agreed to join the alliance. Prime Minister Modi called on countries to join the initiative and set a global target of blending 20% ethanol with petrol.
I think it's going to be one of the more tangible things to talk about for the years to come, both for our biofuels, for our development. We're already on the process of making 20% biofuels by the 2025, but also in our transition to net zero.
The 3 founding members of the alliance The United States, India and Brazil contributed about 85% of the global production and 81% of consumption of ethanol. Brazil has taken over the G20 presidency from India. The New Delhi declaration also took note of the launch of the alliance, despite the presence of OPEC countries such as Russia and Saudi Arabia. The alliance aims at speeding up global use of biofuels by facilitating technology innovations. Other than that, substituting traditional fuels with sustainable biofuels, as well as ensuring standard setting and certification, both of these aspects are also parts of the alliance's mandate.
We can use the biotechnology, increase the production of biomass, and by using biomass like bamboo and other things, we can make bioethanol, bio-CNG. This is to be a great start as far as the historical event is concerned. It is going to reduce the pollution in the world, and it is going to helpful for the agriculture and rural economy, creating more employment potential and growth in agriculture, rural, tribal and forest area. So this is really a win-win situation, and at the same time it's going to reduce the import, which is economically very important as far as Atmanirbhar Bharat is concerned.
So why exactly are biofuels a game changer? Well, unlike traditional fossil fuels, biofuels are made from natural biomass, that is plant, algae or animal waste based, making them sustainable. They can also act as substitutes for petrol, diesel and LPG. Biofuels are of course also carbon neutral and can help reduce greenhouse emissions. The Indian government has advanced its target to achieve 20% ethanol blending in petrol by 2025 to 26 from an earlier target of 2030. The target of petrol supplies with 10% ethanol blending was achieved in June last year, ahead of the original schedule of November 2022. In New Delhi with Srishti Shankar, Priyanshi Sharma for NDTV.
So, well, India is right on track as far as its push for green energy and that clean energy transition is concerned. Now, on the sidelines of the G20, the Prime Minister held various bilateral meetings, and one of them was with Canada's Justin Trudeau, and both sides have condemned the extremist violence in Canada. In fact, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has conveyed concerns about continuing anti-India activities of extremist elements in Canada in that bilateral with Justin Trudeau. In fact, Canada has been one of the favoured hubs of expat Sikhs, where extremism has mushroomed, particularly in the past couple of months, where many Indian diplomats have also attacked. And in fact, they were also targets of such kind of extremist violence in Canada. So the Prime Minister conveyed to Justin Trudeau that these elements are promoting secessionism and inciting violence, and that the nexus of such forces with organized crime, drug syndicates and human trafficking should be a concern for Canada as well. So the Prime Minister, in its most, in his most strong statement so far, actually conveyed his concerns. In fact, Canada on its part also said that we will continue to push back against hatred and extremism.